Hello there, my name is David English. This is the English Way, and let us talk about all things English. As I said at the top, my name is David English. That really is my name, and I'd like to talk about all things English. Well, I'd at least like to start this channel from that point of view. And the reason is primarily my people are all in a crisis. It's a crisis of culture, crisis of identity, crisis of politics. But I think it's actually the root of it is a crisis of spirituality. And in the past 25 years or so, I've really gone on a bit of a journey to figure out, well, what is the spirituality of the English? What does it mean? What is the impulse that drives the English people? And what is their historic purpose? Now, I haven't quite finished that journey, but I'd like to share with you what I've discovered so far. But also, I'd like to share with you my journey going forward into what I do discover, hopefully with yourselves. Now, this part of it is related purely to just being English because I'm not really of any other nation. I can't speak for the Irish, I can't speak for the Scots, and I'm genetically half Irish. So I used to think that I understood the Irish, and then I recently spent some time with a young Irish man in a bar, lovely young man from Belfast, and realised I know nothing about the Irish. So this is really coming from the English point of view, and I genuinely think people in every culture, in every country in the world, should be doing this. They should be digging into the spiritual impulse of their people and why they are here. Why is this important? Well, really everything is downstream from spirituality. If you look at something like politics, that's essentially the manifestation of the spiritual state of society. If society is in a state of spiritual decay, then your politics will be corrupt. The culture I would describe as a manifestation of the spirituality of the physical being in conjunction with the spirituality of the physical land. And I would say that is your culture. But it all comes from this spiritual wellspring, this eternal divine wellspring. And I think if we get back to that, at least at the start of this year, which I think is going to be quite a momentous year, I think we can reset ourselves briefly and prepare ourselves for the challenges that lie ahead. Now, this is something that, as I said, is a journey I went on quite a lot as a kid. I would think about, well, what does it mean to be English? What does it mean to have this surname? What is English culture? What is English thought? What is English music? What is English religion? And I would sit and I would think about these things. Now, I know a lot of people, they have this surname, they have derivatives of this surname, like Inglis and Angles and other things. And they don't necessarily feel the same impulse, and that's fine, because not everybody has an ego the size of mine, which is, practically got its own gravitational field. But it definitely pushed me to keep digging deeper, primarily using a method of what I would call spiritual inquiry, which is, in a sense, traversing the kingdom within. It's almost a Jungian thing, going inside and really exploring what it is that occurs within the stillness and when you connect with that stillness and what it communicates. I have read a lot of things as well, and I've watched and listened to a lot of things as well, and a lot of commentators out there. Somebody like Scott Mannion was quite instrumental in helping me define some of my views. I think his work is quite tremendous, and there are others as well. So as I go forward later on in the year, I'd like to get out and about and meet some people and have bigger conversations about I guess the existential nature of not just the English, but the British in general. There are a lot of really good people who kind of are digging into the essence of the culture and trying to essentially hold the line whilst the world kind of collapses around us a little bit. I'd like to get out and talk to them, but in the meantime, I'd like to go through some particular topics. The next topic in line for this is it's a prophecy. It was a poem that was written in the 1800s, and I don't know if the gentleman intended it to be an actual prophecy, but it has got some very keen prophetic elements to it, and I often refer to it as the fall and rise of England. And I think we can take a lot of heart and a lot of spirit from that, because it directly shows what goes wrong when we lose our culture, but also the natural, what I call the natural and inevitable consequence of that being rectified. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I speak quite a lot about the glorious restoration of England, and I think this is an inevitability. I'd like to talk about the spiritual impulse of the English, the historical purpose, why we're here, what we bring to the world, what our gift to the world is, and what our spiritual gift to the world is. I'd like to talk about something I call the virtue of the English pedestal lady, and why revering and putting our ladies on a pedestal is essential and something that we need to bring back really as fast as possible. I'd like to talk about who the actual saint of England is, not the patron saint, but the spiritual figure who watches over the English, who makes sure and has guided us for many, many centuries and makes sure that we're safe. So there's a lot of topics and things I would like to dig into. I'd like to talk about who the modern day dragon is. If our patron saint of our battles is George, then who is our dragon? And I'd like to get into that as well. So if these things are things that interest you and you'd like to go on this spiritual journey with me whilst I sort of rediscover this essence and we sort of try and dig into what it really truly means to be English, then please click like and subscribe, click the little notification bell, and I shall see you on the next episode.